Hi, Tiger Parents. This is Mr. Box. I hope that you and your family are being safe during these trying times. And as we go to embark upon distance learning for these next 8 weeks and the remainder of the school year, I wanted to create a video and kind of show you how you might be able to stay on top of your students or student uh, as they are doing what they need to do over the next 8 weeks in distance learning. Back in the old days, and by old days, I mean a month and a half ago, if you wanted to kind of stay on top of what your students were doing, you would ask them to pull out their agenda or their planner and have them show you what they wrote down for that day. If they did math problems 1 through 10, you'd ask them, show me the math problems to make sure that they got them done. If you saw they had a English paper that they were going to do over the next 2 weeks and the rough draft was due in a few days, you would ask them to show you, hey, show me what that rough draft looks like, things like that. Obviously, they're not going to be bringing their backpack to and from school. So you got to have kind of a different way in order to stay on top of them. So I wanted to show you the things that your students will be doing, the platforms that they'll be using and programs that they'll be using during this distance learning. So the first thing I wanted to show you before we get into the online platforms and the programs is the schedule. So as you've seen probably by now, and if you haven't, it's on our website. You can bring this up on our website. And also all of my teachers will be sharing this with your students through their various online platforms. This is the schedule that we've created for the middle schools. So one of the things you'll notice is that not every period meets every day. So on Mondays and Thursdays is when periods 1, 2, 3, and 4 meet. And on Tuesdays and Fridays is when periods 5, 6, and 7 meet. The rest of the schedule has some office hours for teachers, has time for lunch, has some tutoring times built in, some teacher prep time, and teacher collaboration time. So let's talk a little bit about what that means when it says period 1, 8:45 to 9:40. What should you expect your student to be doing during that time? So it could be a few different things. It doesn't necessarily mean that your student will be on the computer during that time, having a live virtual teleconference meeting as a class with your teacher and the other students. It could be that that will happen at times, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. It could be that. It could be that a teacher has already done a video, kind of like this video that I'm doing right now, and posted it to their online platform, and the student has to watch that video and do some assignments. Or it could be that a teacher has just posted some assignments that a student can work on during that time. And then office hours are when teachers will be available for students to contact them, again, either through virtual teleconference meetings, or it could be through email, through Google Hangouts. All of my teachers have posted what that looks like for them in their syllabus. And then there's times for tutoring during the schedule as well. And again, teachers will put in their syllabus for their students information on what that might look like. All right. The schedule is partly we'll have contact time with their students during those times, but it's also partly just to keep your students on a schedule. What we don't want to happen is have them look at their assignments and then wait till Friday and then do them all, or try to do them all, because we know that doesn't work out very well. Okay. So if you have your kids stick to this kind of schedule during period 1, ask them, hey, what are you doing during period 1? Show me that you've got it done. Things like that. All right, that's the schedule. So now we're going to look at the online platforms. So the easy way for students to sign on to most any program they'll ever need with respect to what they're doing with distance learning is through our website. You go to our website and you go up to the Let's Go tab. You click on Class Link. That will bring up all of the apps that they will use. Now, I have a lot more apps than they will probably have in theirs, but I'm going to kind of highlight some of the apps that they might use. So this is one for our library. It's got links to a bunch of resources that are connected to our library. ClassLink apps they might use. Google, they're definitely going to use. We'll get to that in a little bit. Flipgrid is a program that their teachers might use or might ask them to use. So that's right there. There's some information on distance learning. Google Class or Google Calendar they might use. HMH Science for their science classes. McGraw-Hill will be for their English classes. My HRW, it will be for their math classes. Nearpod is something that most all of my teachers will probably use during distance learning. It's basically interactive PowerPoints that they will ask students to go through and interact with. Newsela, English teachers might use that a lot. PowerSchool is the other online platform. We're definitely going to look at that here in a little bit, show you that in more detail. You have access to our planner, access to our website. Here's WebEx stuff, although I think students won't have that on there. That's just mainly for teachers. WeVideo is another program that teachers might use and ask students to use. All right, so your child already knows all about this. Okay, one of the great things about distance learning and kids these days is that your students are going to transition to this a lot easier than you are. They're very techy. They know about all this stuff. Most of my teachers have used one of the two platforms that I'm about to show you throughout the year. And so their students are familiar with it, and they've already been invited to the classrooms, and they've already made use of it. All right, so we're going to look at the first platform, which is PowerSchool Learning. So when your child brings up their PowerSchool Learning portal, they will have a list of their classes that they are a part of right here. Now, I've asked all of my teachers to invite me to all of their classes, so I have a huge list. They're not going to have this many. They'll probably have between this PowerSchool Learning and between this and Google Classroom, they should have 7, one for each of their classes that they have. They might have a couple of extra ones here and there if a club or an activity in the past has created an online platform. So I'm going to show you just a couple of what these PowerSchool Learning pages look like. This is an English class. So when you go into it at first, this teacher has a welcome video, has how to navigate PowerSchool Learning, has contact information, has the schedule that we just took a look at, and has created a Google slide deck all about remote learning and some how-to video tutorials here. And then when you go into this teacher has it set up so that there's a number of tabs here on the left. So distance learning week 1, which is this first week. If you click on that, you can see this teacher already has a Google slide deck with everything that the students are going to do in her class for this week and links where it's appropriate. Looks like on this day, there's a template they have to use. They have to watch a TED Talk video and respond to the video on the template. Pretty simple stuff. Pretty easy to navigate. Let me show you. This is some 8th grade math class. It's got a video on a virtual tour of PowerSchool. Little welcome message from the teacher with a bunch of links on various information that the students might need. And then you can see this teacher's created a video as well that the teacher or that the students can view. Some announcements over here that talk about this first week of distance learning, some links and information about office hours, classwork, WebEx, things like that. And then if you go to the teacher's activities and assignments, she has the week 1 activities already right there. And if the students click on that, they will find further direction and information about that. Sorry, we're having a little technical difficulty here. I wanted to show you one more class in PowerSchool Learning. This is our computer applications class. So this teacher's got some information up here about meeting times. This teacher has some information for students on how to log into Cisco WebEx. Cisco WebEx is the program that we are going to be using when teachers want to have live virtual teleconferences with their class. And so this teacher has already set up those classes for his periods, and the links are right there. So if you are in this teacher's 5th period class, then at the time designated on the schedule for 5th period, you're going to go and click on this link, and it will allow you to join his class, and you'll have an online virtual teleconference experience in that class. All right, that's PowerSchool Learning. So let's look at the other platform that my teachers will use, Google Classroom. So you click on Google, and it brings up all the Google apps that students use. Gmail, make sure they're checking their Gmail a lot. Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Forms. Google Classroom is the one that we want to look at. You open up Google Classroom, you'll have one of these squares for each of the classes that your student's been invited to. Now again, you can see I have a ton because I've asked all of my teachers to invite me to all of their sections. Your student, again, will have a combined 7 between Google Classroom and PowerSchool Learning. So they might have 2, 3, or 4 in Google Classroom and 2, 3, or 4 in PowerSchool Learning. So let's take a look at what some of the Google Classroom ones look like. I wanted to show you a PE one. So this is PE when you go into a class in Google Classroom. He's got some announcements. He's got the schedule there as well. So your kids are going to know that schedule in and out just like they do the regular one. He has a link to the Colton Distance Learning site. And then in Google Classroom, you go up here to classwork if you want to see what the work that's being done. And this teacher already has a bunch of assignments all the way through the end of April that students have to do. Fitness logs, video responses, fitness challenges, video workouts. And students will just click on there and it'll give them more information about that particular assignment. I wanted to show you an art class. This is art. This teacher has a number of announcements up already, the schedule, the syllabus, how to turn in assignments, doodle journal, and she has a bunch of videos, images, and slides, decks already created, Cisco WebEx meetings, giving students information about how to join those. Again, the schedule, intro to remote learning, things like that. And then if you go up to classwork, in this particular class, it's got some information in there as well. And then one last one I wanted to show you as far as the teachers. It's an English class. This teacher happens to have been using Google Classroom all year long. So this teacher has a lot of stuff in there from first semester and earlier in second semester. But there's some links here, distance learning syllabus and the schedule, some links in there for classwork that these students have to do. So one of the first things you're going to want to do with your students is sit down with them and ask them, have you gotten an invite to all of your teachers' Google Classroom or PowerSchool Learning? If they say no, you're going to want to make sure they check their email. Generally, that's where it comes. There's a link that they're emailed, and when they click on that link, they automatically are joined. All right? PowerSchool Learning is a little easier. They're kind of automatically a part of it if they're already in the class. Google Classroom is a little different. If they have signed on to all 7 of theirs, then you can sit down and take them through this just like I'm taking you through it. Ask them to show you. What's your history look like? Show me the assignments that you have to do this week. Show me the links that you're looking at. This is kind of your way to stay on top of them. This is your new open up your planner and show me what you're doing this week. Okay. Google Classroom, they're having a little bit of technical difficulty with some of the invites. So if you haven't gotten an invite right now, it's okay. I would wait till Monday night or Tuesday morning and see if your student still hasn't gotten an invite, then I would have them ask them to email the teacher and say they haven't gotten an invite for their particular class. And the teacher can follow up on that. One last Google Classroom I wanted to show you that every student we've invited to is the counseling den. is our counseling department. They have a ton of information on office hours, a link to a form if your student wants to talk to their counselor about something. They fill out this form, and then the counselors will set up a time to talk with them. And then if you go into their classwork, they have a bunch of links that will be very helpful over the next 8 weeks. Section on academic counseling, section on career, college and career exploration, section on social and emotional links, section for current 8th graders, for current 7th graders, and we even have information for next year's 7th graders, because we still have to work on getting them enrolled and getting them ready to go for next year. All right, so that is Google Classroom. So Google Classroom and PowerSchool Learning are the two platforms that your student's going to use overwhelmingly during this time. All right, and like I said, some of these other programs, Nearpod, some of this content-specific ones for math, science, and English is what they'll be using as well. But now you kind of know what students, how you can kind of stay on top of your student. Now you know where to go, or where to show them, where to ask them to show you what they're doing, when it's due, if they've got it done, things like that. One other program that they might be asked to use is the program I'm using right now. It's called Screencastify. A lot of our teachers will use this to create videos. They can share their screen, like I have been doing with you, with the students, and students will be able to watch that as a lesson as well. Okay, so keep up looking on our website for the latest information on all this distance learning stuff, information on things that we've canceled, and things like that. All right, and I hope that you and your family stay safe, and I hope that this will help you, give you some information to make the next 8 weeks for your students' distance learning as successful as they possibly can.